Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you guys doing today? As you can see from the intro, my September TBR is it's not going well. I'm only on the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but I will say so far it's better than I thought it would be. I thought it would be so overhyped that I would not enjoy it. But I feel like I have so much to say, but I don't want to say anything until I finish it. And I'm a little bit more than halfway through. I'm thinking I'll finish that today. I just haven't had a lot of time to read. So, yeah. Yes, but first, is it too early for this hat? Is it too early? Because, Mama's just trying to cover this forehead. So, and I'm feeling a little Halloweeny. So, decided to put on my little Chucky hat. I love Chucky, by the way. I love Chucky. I don't know about his wife so much, but I love Chucky. So, that's why I have that. But I finished Ninth House. And I adored it. I really, really enjoyed this book. It was I guess what people would call a slow read because it takes a little while to get into it, and nothing, like a lot of it is working up, like the build up, the beginning first, like I want to say almost 200 pages. And so you get to like 300, into the 300s, and then you're like, oh, okay. Everything's starting to unravel. So I mentioned this book, I think, probably in my last two videos, but it's about a woman named Alex who can see ghosts, who is called to Yale University to oversee the secret societies that are there and make sure that the rituals that they are performing are safe and nothing is happening. That is not supposed to happen. However, somebody is murdered, another person disappears, and Alex, aka Galaxy, because that's her real name, is basically trying to uncover all of these secrets. And I cannot wait for the next book to come out. It is called Hellbent. The cover looks dope, and I just can't wait because the twist at the end was just awesome. It has some fantasy in here. It has like just a great plot twist. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. So if you're looking for a good read, Ninth House, cannot wait for Hellbent to come out. And I don't even think I introduced this video. This video today, after talking about my little Ninth House, I wanted to show you guys all the books that I got for $1. Listen, I want to say, this book haul, the books that I have here today, I didn't get it this past weekend, but the weekend before that, because this past weekend I did another book haul, and this weekend, unfortunately, I did another book haul. Listen, when they're selling books for $1 for the entire month of September at every library in your nearby town, you can't beat that, I still support my local used library store, and I do have a used book right here that I bought, and I'm super excited to read it. And I'm excited to read this book because I was watching another booktuber, and all I had to hear was Mermaid Sex, and it was just hysterical. So I decided to get it. And it is The Pisces. Also, my girlfriend is a Pisces, and this book, Sower Bob, has been staring at me. I've been staring at the book. It's been staring at me. And once I heard the review on it, I was just like, I have to pick this up. And then, guys, I read the first paragraph, and I almost read this book before The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Let me just read you this first paragraph. Jesus, can we get to the first page? Alrighty. So it says, I was no longer lonely, but I was. I had Dominic, my sister's diabetic foxhound, who followed me from room to room, lumbering onto my lap, unaware of his bulk. I liked the smell of his meaty breath, which he didn't know was rancid. I liked the warmth of his fat belly, the primal way he crouched when he took a shit. It felt so intimate, scooping his gigantic shits, the big, hot bags of them. I thought, this is the proper use of my love. This is the man for me. This is the way. And I don't know, something about that intro, guys, just has me all messed up. I was just like, I have to read this book. It's probably funny. And I'm all about weird sex. As a matter of fact, my girlfriend put me onto this movie. I think I'll put a clip in here somewhere about the movie, but it's a woman that falls in love with, like, I don't know, maybe an alien, essentially. But it was so beautiful. Like, it was so pretty. I don't know, maybe because I can see the beauty in everyone, and yeah, I probably could fall in love with the most random people. I have my person, but I can understand how love can work that way. Anyway, the next book that I got, and I got this from, I think, the used bookstore as well. Yes, and I had to pick it up because it was in great condition, and it was only $4. So I picked it up, and I've been wanting to read this book for a while because it is essentially almost a memoir about the Cuban Revolution, right? And it's called Dreaming in Cuban. I want to read this book, and when I looked into this book, I don't know, it just made me. I feel like I related to it a bit. You know, I am Puerto Rican, and I grew up in the Bronx, and I really don't feel like I was brought up with my culture. You know, like I would say I'm Puerto Rican, but then I don't speak Spanish as fluently as everybody else would speak Spanish. And it almost felt like, yeah, I was dreaming in Puerto Rico. You know, I want to be Puerto Rican, and I don't even know if I said that right, but dreaming in Cuban, it's almost like you come somewhere else and you forget your roots, and you're basically thinking about your hometown and your country. I don't know exactly what's going to happen in this book, but I do know it has to do with the Cuban Revolution, and I'm interested in reading it. So, yeah, I don't know why I tapped the book so many times, but I did. Now, we're going to go for the books that are $1. And I have a stack. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books for $1. Listen, I got 13 books for $13 when I would pay more than that for one book at Barnes & Noble. So, excited. Now, this book has to do with racism in America. I know it does. I know it's going to be a touchy subject for me. I did work in the Bronx Criminal Courthouse for 6 years, and there were some things that I definitely did not agree with. And, yeah. If He Hollers, Let Him Go is a story of a black man in the 1940s that basically is kind of seeps in racism, and you see how he navigates his life in America. The next book I got for $1, or really my daughter got for $1 and said that I could read it first, was Colleen Hoover's Averity. Now, I know this is a thriller. I don't do that many thrillers, but since everybody's been raving about this book, I decided to pick it up, and it was only $1. So that's what we did. $1. Am I going too fast? Just a little fast here. The next book that I got for $1, and I want to read this in October, and that's if I get to read all the books that I have. See, look at my September books right here. Let me stop. So these are some of the books that I have for like October that I'm thinking about reading, but we shall see. My little backdrop just gave me up here. My little back spot here. I'm not sure about The Silent Patient, and definitely I won't be reading this book in October. It's just there for now. Anyway. This book I got for $1, and it is by Joe Hill, which I did not know was Stephen King's son. I just didn't know that, but that's dope. I've never read a Stephen King book, and somebody recommended that I read the book Cujo. Hey, guy. I saw what the back was about, and it seemed like some animal stuff, and I don't know if I'm about that. So I'll start with this. We're going to start with the heart-shaped box, and it is about basically what I got from this book is, you know, a guy bought something off the internet that is a little haunted. So sounds interesting. Ready to give that a read. And it's a good copy, guys. Look at this. $1. $1. And this book I got for $1. And it's a romance novel, and I decided why not, because it's a little gay romance, and I love me some gay romance. And it is red, white, and royal blue, and again, $1. That's insane. Like, look at the copy. Like, how much is this normally? $16.99 in the US, $22.50 in Canada. $1, baby. Excited for that. And then since I read, what is that other book that I read? Ooh, I think it's Night Circus. Am I bugging? No, it's not Night Circus. All right. So the other book, since Ninth House was so good, and everybody raves about this book, I'm going to have to get part 2. I got part 1 because it's $1, and that is A Six of Crows. $1. I can't believe it. It's perfect. It's perfect, and it's $1. So I'm excited to read that. The next book that I got is historical fiction, and I got this book because it's in Coney Island, and it has to do with a mermaid, a girl that is a mermaid that plays in her dad's Coney Island freak show, and then falls in love with somebody that attends the show, from what I got from the synopsis. So I picked this up. It was $1, and again, it looks like it's in great condition, so I just cannot wait. Dueler. It gets tired of me saying that. Oh my gosh, this next book, I couldn't believe I found it for $1, because today at the used bookstore, I literally saw this book for $8. But yeah, I saw this book for $8 and I got it for $1. And it is The Ocean at the End of the Lane. And as a matter of fact, this might actually go on my October TBR, because I just heard such great things about this. From what I heard about this book, it's by Neil Gaiman, and he wrote this book essentially, I think, for his wife. It was supposed to be a short story, and it ended up to be a novel. And don't quote me on that, because I really don't know for facts, for sure. But it's fantasy. It's not dark fantasy. It's a fantasy for adults. And he does say that he does not recommend children reading this book. So it's about a guy that goes back to his hometown and for a funeral. And I believe he experiences like a fantastical world, right? Let me read this. It's a fantasy for adults. Here we go.
It says, a middle-aged man returns to his childhood home to attend a funeral. Although the house he lived in is long gone, he is drawn to the farm at the end of the road, where, when he was 7, he encountered the most remarkable girl, Letty Hempstock, and her mother and grandmother. He hasn't thought of Letty in decades, and yet as he sits by the pond, a pond that she claimed was an ocean, behind the ramshackled old farmhouse where she once lived, the unremembered past comes flooding back. And it is a past too strange, too frightening, too dangerous to have happened to anyone, let alone a small boy. A groundbreaking book as delicate as a butterfly's wing and as menacing as a knife in the dark, The Ocean at the End of the Lane is told with a rare understanding of all that makes us human, and shows the power of stories to reveal and shelter us from the darkness inside and out.
It looks adorable. It just sounds good, and the reviews I heard on this book were amazing. So I was excited to get this for $1. Super excited. And then this next book, I got it for $1, and I know it's gonna make me cry, because it's like a post-apocalyptic book about a father and a son traversing the country with, just the supplies that they have. And they have to kind of like, I guess, they're going to meet people on the road. And you could just imagine those people, when people are desperate, people do desperate things. So you could imagine that it's probably going to be a gut-wrenching one. I read another book in college, and I see people reviewing that book now, but I read it years ago, and it is one of my all-time favorite books, and I will put it in another video, and that is Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. Oh my God. I say I read this years ago. This woman wrote this book years ago. She died years ago. And if you read it, it creeps me out, because it's like, it almost seems like we're on a timeline for whatever happened in that book to happen to us now. Creepy. Love that book though. I actually have it back here. But I'll make an entire separate video about that book and a few other books that I just absolutely love. So the next book, the cover was just beautiful. I definitely go for covers. I feel like that's what grabs you, right? The cover should be interesting, and then hopefully the book is as interesting as the cover is. At least we would hope. But the next book I got is The Girl Who Chased the Moon. And basically, from the synopsis of this book is, this girl has no family. She ends up going to go live with her grandfather in a town of peculiar things happen. I don't know. So it says right here, Emily enters the house where her mother grew up and meets the grandfather she never knew. She realizes that mysteries aren't solved in Mulbay. I think that's how you say it. They're a way of life. Here are rooms where the wallpaper changes to suit your mood. Unexplained lights skip across the yard at midnight, and a neighbor, Julia Winterson, bakes hope in the form of cakes. Not only wishing to satisfy the town's sweet tooth, but also dreaming of rekindling the love she fears might be lost forever. I don't know. A weird, funny town. Sounds fun. And I'm ready to read it. So, let's go. I don't feel like I've heard too many people talk about this book. So, yeah. And this next one, everybody is raving about it. They raved about it all summer. It is a friends to lovers kind of romance book. And again, since this was $1, I decided, let me expand my horizons and do some romance. So I decided to pick up People We Meet on Vacation. And again, $1, baby. $1. The next one, I've seen this book for a while and I've wanted to pick it up. And then I'm like, I don't pick it up. And then I want to pick it up. Decided to finally pick this book up, and it is Where the Crawdads Sings. I believe this is about a marsh girl that is ultimately, like, she lives alone in the marsh, and she's like, sorry, I have something in my throat, right? She's like the oddity of the town, right? From what I got. And then a murder happens, and she is the prime suspect. So excited to read this. And I also heard that it is going to be a movie. So hopefully I read that before the movie. Yeah. This next one just seemed fun. And I believe she wrote The Handmaid's Tale, right? Margaret Atwood. So I decided to pick up The Blind Assassin. I don't think that I can read The Handmaid's Tale. I did not like the show at all. Not even gonna get into it. I just didn't like it at all. Now, one of my all-time favorite Disney movies, this is my all-time favorite movie. The other ones are besides. My all-time favorite movie is The Little Princess. I absolutely loved that movie growing up. I even had a Little Mermaid birthday party. Thank you very much. And I loved it. I also love Beauty and the Beast. And then recently, one of my most favorite movies is Coco. I love Coco. It's so cute. Anyways, this is like, I guess, a Little Mermaid retelling or a spin on the Little Mermaid. And I liked it. I liked the cover. I thought it was gorgeous. So I picked it up. And look at that. I mean, it's from one of the libraries. It was having a book sale, but isn't that pretty? And for these things on the side here, since I have a whole other bag of library books that I got for $1, I'm wondering if I can make like something cute and label it to cover that up. Because if you try to peel these off, it's hard. It's sticky. Has anybody ever tried to peel these off? I feel like I'm going to mess up the entire book. But anyways, that is the books I got for $1, guys. Look at this. Look. Let's start with this one. Put this one right here. Boom. Oh, it's gonna fall. It's gonna fall. What's wrong with me? No, these are too heavy. It's so heavy. Look at that. Stop. $1. $1. And with that, stay tuned because I told you I have 2 more book hauls of a shit ton of books that I would love to read. So, yeah. And the next video that I'm going to put out is actually about Thatcher Park. The scenery is pretty. Try to give it a chance. The scenery is pretty, beautiful. I'm going to add a little bit of history in there. So it's like a watchy video. You got to watch it. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in my next video. Stay up. Don't let the haters get to you. And have a good week. Bye, y'all.